Sitting on 10 pillars are 10 spherical objects. 8 of them are vague and blurry shapes. The red sphere, however, is crystal clear, pulsating, glowing angrily, while the black one is shattered, the shards floating in place. Every now and then the shards start spinning, faster and faster, and then immediately stop again. The red orb pulsating quicker in response. With every pulse, the other orbs are rolling towards the edges of their pedestals, getting closer and closer, almost falling off, just to snap back to its center.
Draxus takes a few tentative steps.
This platform does not in any way feel as stable as the other ones. Thick cracks are going from the material that you especially wouldn't know is incredibly hard and, well, seemed almost indestructible to you. That is obviously not the case.
Looks around. The symbolism of this place. It cannot be a coincidence, can it? Looks around. The chromatic collars of the dragonflights. Points to the left. The metallics to the right. The black one is shattered. And the red one is trying to draw the others to it. We know of a red one, do we not?
Also, it is worth noting that trying to even glimpse towards the, well, spherical object of your color causes physical pain. Jax, however, does not have any kind of problem with any of the orbs.
Because he is not there, his color? Is that why?
Yes.
Yes, I am not chromatic nor metallic. I believe some call us primal, because we come from the primal planes. I am, as it turns out, not of this world, and so whatever symbolism is here might be meant for you, more than me.
I need to read up more on that.
Looks around. What is this place? A manifestation of the power of the dragonflights? Looks around. Why is the black one shattered?
Do we know of any black dragons being killed? Of the big ones?
You wouldn't know.
Could
probably
identify the orbs?
You could certainly roll a knowledge arcana would be appropriate.
When the
So not identification.
No.
when the orb pulsates, do we feel a pull towards it?
If you concentrate on it, there might be something, although it is very, very slight.
Okay.
Is that one... Wait. Am I pointing? Yeah, there we go. Is that one white?
Yes, that is white.
It just looks more silver, and that one looks more white.
So someone has messed up in the room. Don't say anything.
Sorry.
I think I will try to walk across.
It's very embarrassing.
Very carefully, he will sort of walk.
What is the meaning of this? I suppose we are under attack, or some such. Looks at the black shattered orb.
They don't feel pleasant.
Doesn't seem
all.
like it has like exploded, or like it has been an impact. Like can.
Ew!
It is quite hard to tell what exactly happened to where the black orb should have been. All you can see is that it is in tiny, tiny pieces. The pieces, however, do not seem to be, well, inactive or dead. Quite the opposite. It seems that they are, in fact, the, well, maybe even the cause of everything happening here. There does seem to be an almost malicious intent in the shards.
Mm-hmm. Looks to the others. Yes, the symbolism seems clear to me. Do you have any other thoughts?
Well,
Does it look like that the blast from the black one is the one that has caused the cracks?
It does seem to originate from there, yes.
we could try to touch one of them.
Oh, I'm not in favor.
I like the look of this one. Sort of walk to it. Can you climb up the pedestal?
The pedestal is not that high. You think you probably could.
What if you taps it with a finger?
You try tapping this one, and you simply pass through as if the orb was a gas, really. It swirls slightly, but then quickly assembles itself again in this orb-like vague shape.
He seems slightly disappointed. Says, "It seems as with many things, me touching it makes it act weirdly. Perhaps one of you could try touching one.
Sure.
The green one, perhaps."
You just said it hurt.
Yes, even looking at it is painful, and you cannot do it for more than just a moment. And even then, it's not something you wish to repeat, really.
It hurts, you say?
I don't think it's healthy for me. And I'm very strict when it comes to my health.
That is curious.
It seems almost as if it is actively repulsing us from getting close to our colors.
What happens if Inovox touches the copper one?
It is the same effect. It seems that as soon as you want to touch it, it is more of a cloud rather than an object.
Looks like it has nothing to do with that, and it's the same with me.
Have any of you ever heard of this sort of symbolism? Orbs of colors that hurt you?
Tyraxos shakes his head. No. Although
Is
I
that-
will confess that I'm not that well read up.
Is there a roll I can do to a knowledge?
That would be Knowledge Arcana, and for this purpose, you also gain your bonus to identify dragons, as
Not-
well as being
Plus
able to
4.
roll the check.
What
untrained.
about history or local?
No.
I don't have Arcana.
You don't?
Someone does, apparently.
No, I don't have knowledge Arcana. I didn't want it because some of you had it.
You can still make the roll if it's to identify dragons. It would
So-
just be an intelligence roll plus the bonus plus 4.
Okay. You never know. Intelligence plus 4. Meh.
At least Tyraxus and Volnix have the feeling that they know very well what these things are. Not because you have read about them, but you simply know, really. These are the orbs of dragonkind. They are legendary artifacts that, according to legend, are spread around the world and have immense powers over the colors of dragons they represent. They are treasures that, even saying that wars are fought over them would be too little of a description for them. Having one means that not only do you inherit the orb's powers, but also but it also allows you to command whichever dragon is of the same color. You would know these to be god-made artifacts that no mortal could understand, let alone create.
Tyraxos will hiss at the others and say, "They represent the orbs of dragonkind. Artifacts that control, with absolute authority, the corresponding dragonflights. These artifacts are an immense evil and danger to us."
And it seems that
do-
someone knows how to destroy them.
Looks at them with grave repercussions, it seems. I do also seem to recall that they are sometimes called the Tears of Tiamat.
That is correct. Also, you wouldn't exactly call the orbs as you see them inherently evil. They are simply a fact of life, really. They exist, they have always existed, and they will always exist.
Well, Tyraxus would personally view them as evil.
Why
That
do,
is fair.
To them, sort of
why do
thinks to
they
himself how nice it would be to possess a few of these.
why do they hurt all colors?
Because they represent the color of your blood, so to speak. They hold absolute power over you. If someone were to possess one of them, they could force you to do anything.
Also, looking at your respective color gives you a painful feeling of utter inadequacy,
What?
of failure, of disappointment, really.
What would happen if she were to touch it?
That you could find out by trying.
I wouldn't. If it has the power to make you do anything and exert extreme control over you. Closer. It seems that I cannot touch them, but neither am I affected by this thing around them. If anything were to hold this sway around me, I suppose it would be our eternal emperor. And yet that is not supernatural. It is mere fact of life that if I had to have a command from him, I would, well, have to follow it.
I wonder who broke the black one.
But he is the representation and the ultimate expression of your dragonflight, is he not? These things, he points vaguely at their direction, are made to control us.
And it seems that the black one is shattered. Probably a black one did it, although I suppose he wouldn't be able to, would he?
Draxus shakes his head. I do not know.
Do you know how they are destroyed?
He shakes his head. No. Of
Do
such
you know-
immense, powerful artifacts, I cannot begin to guess how to destroy them.
Do you know how to destroy them? Or what happens if you destroy them?
He shakes his head.
It looks like the red is glowing. What do you think that means? That someone possesses it?
Yes,
Seeing it?
that would be my guess. We do know of the danger growing in the Cinderlands, this Empress Shunta, who apparently also commands a red.
You think she has this thing? If that was to be stolen, if we could acquire it, think of what we could do with such a thing.
The red orb is not only glowing angrily, it is also emanating an immense heat, pulsating, shifting. It does not seem so much to be. It does not seem to be only active. It seems to be, well, almost bursting to explode.
What happens if Einamax looks at that one?
Like over here.
Even going so close is quite literally physically painful, and if you wish to remain there long enough to try to study the orb closely, you will take some lasting damage from it.
Well, she doesn't want to get damaged by a freaking orb. That's just stupid.
We could move on. It seems that this does not really have a test, but more imagery. At least there seems to be nothing I can interact with.
But why were we sent here?
Burn me, I wonder.
I do not know. Prophecy? Who knows? Some mad dream of the mother, perhaps. He looks around uncomfortable.
Maybe it is someone who's trying to help us.
We have had
Well,
scant few of such attempts. I don't see why you should start now. Looks around.
destroying these things, I don't know, but it could be bad for us as well. If your type is linked to it intrinsically, then perhaps the destruction of it would in some way weaken you or madden you. I have not heard of any blacks recently. I don't think any of you have either. But we don't know what effect this could have on them. If this is even real.
Agreed. The orbs have never been destroyed, as far as I know.
I need to leave just for a sec.
It also seems to be more powerful in this state. At least I sense more power emanating from it. Perhaps the orbs contain something. Perhaps the power that they exude to a wielder is merely one use. Perhaps something escaped from within it. Like an egg, almost. Maybe the gods themselves feared that one day the dragons could throw them down, and they made something that, if that were to happen, they could release, and the dragons would be destroyed. If that was the case, then we would want to keep these safe. Yes?
It wouldn't surprise me if the gods did indeed try something like that. It would be like them, wouldn't it? He looks at the orb. These things are an expression of ultimate control, and as such they are supremely dangerous.
And powerful, if we could possess them.
I'd rather sink them at the bottom of the deepest pit we could find.
Looks to him and says, "Not the ocean, then," with a sly smile.
Quirks his head. Perhaps not. He looks at it again. But if this Empress Shunta is indeed in possession of the red orb of dragonkind, it seems to me to be something that it should not be in her possession, yes?
Preferably, yes. Preferably, it should be in our possession.
Even though I loathe these things in ways I can scarcely describe, I would much prefer us to control the orb than her.
And through the orb, the dragons.
He looks at Mechanics. It is a dangerous path to tread to try to control those. Points at the orbs. What if your own collar were to surface? I think this is why most dragons, when they hear of the orbs, try to hide them.
I suppose that much is true. And you certainly would want to keep your own the closest. If you possessed your own, then no one could ever control you.
He nods. That would indeed be the ultimate of privileges to do. To have such a thing in your control would ensure that you would never indeed be controlled by anything. He looks at the orb. Although being close to it, even in this shadowy form, is painful. I don't know what the actual artifact would do to me if I were to approach it.
Let us hope then that we never find out. It seems only that the red is active. Something that is bad, but that's something I don't think we can do anything about in here.
Agreed.
And so it seems that whatever test is here is not for us in some way. What was in the other room was what could have been. Perhaps this is what is, or some such.
Perhaps. We still know that the wizard Pyle was corresponding with Empress Shunta. He was trying to trade us away for magical research or expertise. If he is in league with this Empress, he seems to be someone we might want to take care of in a more permanent fashion.
Perhaps if we were able. For now, we should look on, I think. I'm curious as to what might be here.
Well, what you see, to the north, is that at the end of the platform sits the massive petrified skull of a dragon. Ancient and crusted with burning hot red rock, Avolix would nonetheless recognize this to be the remains of a white dragon. At the end of the pathway leading into the cave-like maw, a bright light shines. Through it you hear the sounds of birds, of quietly chittering kobolds, and the never-ending sound of pickaxes on rock.
No. We found the exit, we think. It's inside the maw of a giant white dragon. Skull. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was muted.
Tyraxus will, before we go, he will try to actually approach the red one and try to inspect it.
You can't get much closer than this without risking getting physically burned by it.
I will go one step closer. How close would I need to go to try to inspect it?
Probably closer. Chances are going closer would also mean that you do not have a nice day.
As in, do I feel like I'm actually going to be destroyed? Or just, like, take damage?
Essentially, here you'd feel a slightly warm breeze. Here it would already feel like desert winds.
I like desert winds.
Getting any closer would get too hot, even for you.
But I like how much damage, if I stick out a claw, like how much, is my claw turning to ash in front of me, or am I just...
It's certainly getting warm. Finding out how much damage you will take would require you to take a step forward.
Take a step forward.
Alright, for every round you stay there, you take 2d10 points of fire damage.
That is quite something. Can I study it from here?
For how many rounds would you like to study it?
I want to make a perception check, basically, to see if I can notice anything about it.
Alright, you can certainly take a look at the orb as a move action. The orb, as you've seen from a distance, certainly seems to be active in some way or another, and whatever purpose it's being used for does not seem to sit well with the orb, as it is like a grape being squished slowly and slowly. Essentially, it's only going to result in one thing, and that is probably not a good thing. Chances are that if the usage on this orb continues the way it is currently continuing, it will have a similar fate as the Black Orb had. It also seems, coming closer, that there are tendrils of blackness really emanating from the pillar of the Black Orb, or the shards of it, that seem to be invading the Red Orb's space, really, winding themselves up the pillar, not touching the orb, but certainly having some significant influence on it.
Yeah, Tyraxus will take a few steps back as he approaches you. You see like smoke come from him as he's somewhat singed from this. And he will basically report what he saw. It seems like it is being drained or forced to do whatever it is doing. It does not like it, and it is on the verge of exploding. If it keeps doing like this for long, it will meet a similar fate to the Black.
Is that good or bad, though, for us?
He looks around. I couldn't say. Who knows? Whatever. He sort of points to the Black. There are tendrils of blackness winding its way down, affecting it somehow around the pedestal, but I could not discern how or what it is doing. Clearly, it seems to be that some great calamity will happen if that orb shatters.
Is the black reaching for the green as well?
It does not seem so.
That's good.
Well, I think I want to wake up now. Says, and we'll walk through.
As you come close to the bright light, you do indeed find yourself where you left, in your bed, essentially, or what counts as your bed nowadays.
You will look to the others to see if they're still sleeping.
The others are still sleeping,
They
except
have
those who have
wounds.
left with you. They do appear to have wounds, and you do notice that whatever sleep you had really didn't help much. You feel more exhausted than you were when you laid down to rest.
Is her book there?
The book is there, yes.
Oh, it's not.
It is undamaged.
Oh, that's good.
Then I would like you to copy your tokens as you decide to wake up.
Would my wand charges be drained as well?
They are drained.
Okay. So the book survived, but not the wand. Check.
Yeah, copy your tokens. If you pass into the bright light, you do find yourself woken up.
So dark.
That's
No
cool.
light anywhere.
I'm just waiting for DDS to type out whatever he's typing now so I can possibly respond to it.
It's all right. Oh, there we go. Now I can see something.
Sorry, 1 second. I just had a major moment of having my mic muted and just sneezing to myself. Rapid fire sneezing. So I couldn't type.
Yeah,
Seems to be in a very bitter mood now, though, after this.
Traxxas like snorts awake, looks around.
Okay, so he's sitting in the gold pile looking at him. Nods to his wounds.
Yeah, he looks at them as well, nods. It was real enough then.
Yes, although I don't think we have been gone from here. Only our consciousness, or some such.
Yes, pulled into whatever mad realm that was by something. Fate, prophecy, the gods, the mother herself, who knows?
And why those alternate showings of what could have been? I don't feel it connected well with the rest.
A warning, a mockery of us, showing us
Perhaps a
what we could have
suggestion
been.
that something that has been done has prevented it. Perhaps the black orb shattering has prevented it.
Shakes his
Allowed us
head.
more freedom, more ability.
I don't see how that would be a thing.
I'm just trying to connect what we have seen.
Perhaps everyone who enters that place must face down well, worser selves to proceed. You must defeat the weakness within you to come upon the altar room.
It is the weakness of, well, dying, I suppose, then.
He nods. Indeed. I do not know your story, Rakayax. I do not know what that symbolized.
I think I know well enough. Let's hope it never comes to that.
I am confident that we have today at least fought to prevent that, even if it was in a small way.
If a character were to cantriply detect magic around him, does he sense any lingering energies or anything?
Nothing that would seem out of place.
Well, that's good. Just so, beyond that, Jackson says, looks at the girl still sleeping. Says, I suppose we have nothing really more we need to do.
Also, you do realize that waking up, you do feel ever so slightly, well, different. Perhaps a better word would be more complete, as you do realize that you now are able to do things that you don't think you would have been able to do otherwise. I will paste what I mean in the chat,
Oh,
and
exciting.
you may take a look. Oh, that is terribly formatted. Let me just read it out, okay? Terexus finds himself with the ability to imitate really any voice or sound that he has heard before, mechanically by making a successful bluff check against a listener's sense motive check. It is an ability that he very well knows all Blue Dragons to have, and now he can do it too. Einavox thinks that it was really silly that she had so much troubles with the forest and all, and has decided that that is no longer the case. You are not impeded by any sort of natural foliage at all. That includes taking movement penalties or damage. Magical foliage still works. And you also think that you finally understood the trick that both Finian and Vincent always used in the Ashwood to get from point A to point B very quickly. Avonix
sweet.
is quite sure that if there was to be a massive snowstorm or snow in general, he wouldn't really be impeded in any way at all, really. At least in terms of seeing and flying. Rotax thinks that he can talk to fish.
Something Rakax thinks that his people do, yeah?
Yes, he is quite sure that the ability to speak to, well, fish and fish-like creatures is something that all brine dragons possess.
Well, he supposes that is very normal then.
It is normal. It is, however, not normal that you suddenly gain these abilities, literally overnight.
Well, he doesn't really have anyone to try it on. But well, he shakes his head slightly, looking around, a little dazed.
Terexus tilts his head. He tries to make the sound, the voice of Vincent. See if that works. If that beats any of your sense motives, you think I'm Vincent.
Well,
But we can see you.
you
but I
can
sound
see
like him.
him making movements with his mouth, but it seems pretty close. Even Avendra just wakes up and sleepily asks, "Is Vincent here finally? He hasn't shown himself in so long. He wanted to teach me the bow." And then falls asleep again.
Cute trick, Tyraxus.
Tyraxus smiles
I knew
slightly.
it wasn't Vincent.
I need to practice, it seems.
While he's looking around, his eyes widened, so I'm slightly disappointed for a moment.
He looks around again. Yes, we should consider our next step, I suppose, considering what we just have seen. Perhaps it is time to once again seek the counsel of Lady Ashwood. She should be at least informed of the vision, shouldn't she?
That seems like a good idea.
Apart from that, I still would think that we should investigate the mystery of Sirafo, the village that got destroyed near our domain. If something has the power to destroy a village, it seems like we should investigate that thing.
Stay away from it, right?
No, destroy it. We can't have village-destroying critters running around. That is our job, is it not?
But this would nicely take away any attention that was on us before.
But what if that creature starts hunting what we hunt? Merchants and other resources. I do not like to share our domain with something else. We do not know what it is.
Very well then, I suppose we should go and talk to Lady Ashwood.
Traxxas looks over to her Volnix. What?
You look outside and see that it is morning. There's nothing out of the ordinary outside.
Is there a kobold in the bush?
Not currently.
There is something out of the ordinary then.
Is something wrong? Beyond the dream, of course.
And I apologize if having strange visions in the night makes me slightly jumpy, but why did we see them?
I don't know. That's why we would ask Lady Ashwood, I suppose. I will go take a look at if the kobolds are working as they should.
Looking around, you do indeed find the kobolds working as they should. There are still some just asleep, really, just now waking up. Definitely waking up as you come to inspect them. But there doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary. Skruvix comes to talk to you, of course, just assuring you that he does everything in his power to make everything work smoothly here, and look at all the progress that is being made. And is there any particular area that the digging should focus on? And many, many questions.
Sure. We need our new room to be dug out, so.
Alright, he will send all the kobolds to dig only on that room.
Also, make sure our girls' room is dug out as well. Next to ours, as you know.
Of course. Will be done as soon as the kobolds are able.
Good. Everything seems all right in there. I suppose we should just move on then.
I will take a very quick toilet break. I will be back in just a moment.
I'm glad somebody could roll a check that would reveal it's the orb of dragonkind.
2 of us, apparently.
Not that I really know what those are. I never really used them in a campaign before.
I, as a player, know as a character.
I have no idea, really. As a player or a character.
For us, they are very nasty.
I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Tyraxus.
It is literally like if we find one, like chuck it into space and never,
But then the space gods take it.
Yeah, then some fucking length spider will snag it.
And they leg spiders, they want to rule everything, so.
Mm-hmm. Looks to our rolls. Yes.
There. Whatever you might call them. Of themselves seem self-explanatory. But why was yours chained? Well, except with a mild grin.
That is indeed the question, is it not? Also, the question might be why yours was so emaciated and pathetic.
Can I just add that is what I think when we go and look out in our corridor. Those that pretend they guard our place, they just sleep like that. With a little frog.
Oh, that's a frog familiar. That is super cute.
Mm. And the one above is kobold riding on an otter.
That's great. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Kobold otter cavalry.
That other kobold nest probably has them. They were like super fancy.
I'm back.
Regardless, our characters also look very interested to the two others talking.
I know what to pretend she's reading, but she's still listening.
That one wasn't able to survive, and if it can't survive, there's no point it being around. But why was yours? The reason yours was chained is more interesting, I feel. For that doesn't happen naturally for the weak.
Drax's eyes thin, somewhat dangerously at Rolex. The same thing can be said for that mockery that was on display. It was a failed creature, one that broke, one that couldn't resist, one that let itself be entangled in the web of others. I have told you that I had strings that tied me down, but I don't have them anymore. There are no strings on me.
Yes, you said that. After you killed your double.
I have enemies out there. Enemies that I intend to destroy when the time is right. Enemies that have, and indeed possibly still try to make that vision become a reality.
With that temper, I would like to see them try.
They did. I caused the death of a few guards. He has a slight smile as he seems to recall.
I want having an amused look on him.
Then I was sold off to Piley for a small fortune. He tried to keep me as a pet, that fat, oozing, pink flesh heap of a creature. Pampered and powdered he was, and delighted in inflicting pain. Tyrax's gaze has sort of glazed over as he seemed to recall. Much pain. And when I resisted, he has tried even more. He used to say that there is no work of art or no beauty that does not come from pain. Your practice is certainly upheld. He sort of shakes his head, he's sort of ripped out of his reverie. Regardless, he is someone that must be destroyed in time. I shall see to it myself.
Sounds like quite the show.
Not to shame you, cousin, but you were wearing, or not you, but your double were wearing a collar. Very fancy one.
Yes. That is the point of that man. Rudolf Jagari was his name. He liked pretty things. He liked them to have on display, and that would be my guess. What I would have become if I had succumbed. A pretty thing on a pedestal for his amusement, his pet. He spits out the last word. I will not have it. I will not have it. No collar, no strings. I will cut them all. If I have to storm down from the Thunder Street heavens and crack open his estate like a rotten egg and drag him screaming from his bed, I will do it.
She nods. Looks to Volnix. And your double. Looked like he hadn't eaten in weeks.
What more can there be to say? The double was too weak. It could not survive the harsh reality there is. The world is not kind. It's fight or die. It's over a curious look at the kayaks.
He just sort of slithers away from between all of you.
Why the ghost?
I suppose my greatest weakness would be if I was dead.
Wouldn't that be all our weaknesses?
Tyraxos sniffs a little bit. He's avoiding the questions. Peering at him. Some dread secret you do not wish to tell us, cousin, I am sure.
He gives you a warm smile.
Aww, that's all he has to do. Inox doesn't say that, but...
Tyraxos snorts. Lays down a little bit, curls his tail around the blue sapphire he has. Death would certainly be a problem for you, no doubt, as it would all of us. But I doubt that was the weakness it was showed. More like something else. The looming shadow, a threat, perhaps? Being consumed, or a wisp of your former self. Not able to realize your power. He sort of muses to himself, stroking the sapphire. Perhaps something larger is hunting you.
Perhaps. But I would rather much like not to talk of such things. It is almost as if invoking certain things could bring them upon you.
Tyraxos frowns. Superstition from you, Rakayax. Interesting.
What Araxos, did you? I definitely learned one thing in there. I didn't know a green's horn could get so big.
You don't...
Inox looks really angry.
Hydavox doesn't see it, but on the left side of Tyraxos' face, the one he's showing Arvolix, he sort of quirks a small smile. And sends him a wink.
Inox looks really angry. But tries her best just to pretend she's reading.
I didn't recognize that as your double at first.
She looks at the kayaks and nods.
Avonix is giving an amused look over to Tyraxis.
If you don't behave, Avolnix, your next meal will be poisoned, and you will puke.
Tyraxis is doing the quite impressive feat of looking very amused on the left side of his face only.
Oh, poisoned, you say? Puking. Is that the worst you've got?
Are you testing me? She closes her book and gets up.
It's going to take more than poisoned food to get rid of me.
Oh, please, I didn't try to get rid of you. I only tried to get you to wipe that smirk off your face.
Now, we both all saw some things that were not nice. But I believe it can bring us closer together if we let it.
I just tried to be gentle and not make fun of your sides. But it seems none of you are... what could I say? Proper enough not to do it.
Tyraxis looks over. I have said nothing. I have laid here impassive, while others taunt you. Einavox, I am hurt.
Let us instead talk about how to get rid of the orbs that might control you all.
Einavox just looks to 12 Arcuses and says, do you think I'm stupid?
No, I have never thought that at all.
Einavox gets up and I'm going outside.
Do you need help with anything?
No.
It is rather cold outside, and you do see that the forest is slowly turning from a nice rich green to a more autumn-like orange, red, and brown. Which is unusual that it is happening so late in the year. It is basically almost winter.
She jumps up in the tree, finds a good branch to lay on and look at the forest and just ignores the cold.
Nice frowns. It seems like we might soon be left without our protection. When Lady Ashwood falls asleep and the trees lose their leaves, we will be on our own. And I don't think we're ready to handle what that will bring.
We fight or we die. It's the only option we'll have.
Sometimes, yes, that certainly is true. Although flight might also work.
Tyraxis snorts to himself and then gets up. We should commune with Lady Ashwood before it is too late. She goes to sleep soon.
Yes, I agree. We should leave at once.
Very well then. He gets up, places down the sapphire, crawls out.
Crawls out behind, drags Rock back in place.
Yeah, through this entire conversation and argument, Avendra has just been snoring away.
That is probably best.
What a lovely child.
Yes.
And you wish to meet with Lady Ashwood. Alright.
Well, if you all look up in the tree, Einavox is meditating.
How's she sitting in the tree?
It is homely. She would not tell you that, though. It reminds of a more peaceful time.
Mechanicus never has so much peace as now. But he sort of huddled his little cloak and
Well,
makes for the forest.
if you want Einavox to come, you have to tell her first, because she's meditating.
He looks up to him and says, Miss Einavox, we will go visit Lady Ashwood. If you want to come with us, you're more than welcome.
She looks to the group. I'm the only one who can find Miss Ashwood without having help from that annoying wisp or sprite.
Getting help from your allies and is never something to be ashamed of. I'm
So-
sure you'll be happy enough to aid us.
No need, I know the way.
Or if you say so.
She scrawns at him for saying that. Almost looks like she doesn't. Now she just doesn't want. Can I make a will save?
I'm slightly confused at her.
You doubted her.
No, he said sure.
If you say so.
Yeah.
Can I make a will save to go and if I should help these?
I would never ask you to roll against players, and I would highly recommend not to start doing it.
She looks like she really doesn't want to now. She kind of just wants you to suffer with that annoying sprite, but she's.
No, okay, shocks and we'll move on. Shocks.
That's what I'm saying. But she wants to talk or not talk, but she wants to listen to Lady Ashwood, and she doesn't really think you would give her all the information. But she looks really annoyed at you all. Not as much as Rekayaks, mostly at the two others.
Duran says, that scowl really doesn't suit your face very well. A smile is much more pleasant to look at.
She just shakes her head and let's go.
I thought you would want to know. You care a lot, I noticed.
You can see a nod.
We'll make for the forest.
Alright. If Einavox could make me a survival check then, and one of you roll me a d4.
Well, you just wrote that I can
I'll roll
look
it,
through the forest without problem.
1.
I would still like a survival check, but you do not think you will have any difficulty at all, finding the spot that you met Lady Ashwood at the last time.
Do I get bonuses because of the thingy?
Yes, you do continue to get your +2. Yeah, you have absolutely no trouble, even navigating past the dangers that might lurk in the Ashwood. And eventually you do think that you're approaching the place where you met last time. A trip that takes about 2 to 3 hours. You're not entirely sure where in the Ashwood this is, but it seems to be pretty much the center. A place that should not be reachable in that amount of time. Copy your tokens.
Copied.
I can still have it copied.
Oh dear Lady Ashwood. Is she a dragon or is she
She's a dragon of some kind, probably.
or is she an elemental or is she a dragon elemental or
That would be a knowledge check that you think is appropriate if you want to ponder that question.
nature? Question mark?
You could roll a nature check if you want to.
Is she an elemental just trying to pretend she's a dragon? Do I get bonuses?
No.
Oh.
That
Damn it.
seems to be a pretty ambitious thing for an elemental to do. Elementals aren't really too nature related, really. At least not in the terms of a forest.
Well, that's true. But, you know, a living tree.
Traveling through the forest, you definitely see the signs of the approaching winter now finally taking effect. The deep green turning more to a deep brown, deep orange. Something that certainly is normal for a forest, but it also has the ominous effect of making you very much aware of the things that Lady Ashwood said to you. Although what exactly that would mean for you, it's probably bad, but you aren't entirely sure how much her protection really does. Eventually, you do reach the hill that you met her at last time.
Alright. Is there anyone here to greet us, or is it just...
There are certainly various kinds of forest critters running away from you, the noises of birds. There's no immediate reaction to your arrival.
Did we know when she was gonna go to sleep? If you can hear fireworks, I'm sorry.
When winter arrives, she said, I think. Well, in that case, Tyraxus will take a step forward, look around, and then he will speak Land Draconic. Lady Ashwood, Ancient One, we come before you once again to seek your counsel. We have seen visions of dread omens and dark portents, and we wish to share this knowledge with you, and perhaps partake in your ancient wisdom.
It takes a very long moment, filled with just the background noise of the forest, until you see, well, basically an identical display of raw power that you have seen last time, as the entire hill, the hill that showed no sign of any such a thing before, lifts up and quickly you do recognize the, well, face, for lack of a better word, of Lady Ashwood right in front of you.
Tyraxus does a respectful bow towards her.
Speak, then. I am interested.
Yes, Ancient One. We found ourselves in a dreamscape, and Tyraxus will basically lay out exactly what happened. The mirror images, the that we had to defeat, the the weird swirling colors, and then in as much detail as he can muster, which is a decent chunk, about the room with the orbs and the cracks and like everything, basically.
She listens to your story with an absolutely neutral expression, impossible to read. And even after you stop, she, well, shows little sign of, well, any reaction whatsoever.
Well, like, we believe that the red dragon orb might be in possession of this Empress Shunta up at the Cinderlands, and that she is squeezing it for as much power as she can.
A slight nod from the giant wooden skull. She then turns to you and says, I would like to check for myself, with your permission.
He nods. Very, very well, Ancient One.
I apologize.
She's gonna rip my skull off.
Well,
That's what spell regenerates for.
As where Tyraxus stands, you quickly notice that the roots and leaves and plants around you grow rather rapidly, wrapping around you, fixing you in place, as the stare of Lady Ashwood becomes too much, really. She seems to almost, well, come closer and closer, although you are pretty sure neither you or she are moving. And what follows is a blur of images and a terrible headache as you regain consciousness almost a long time, at least that's what it feels like later, with the vines and roots around your legs almost squeezing painfully as they then retract.
Tyraxus sort of staggers a little bit down and heaves a breath. So ragged. And looks around to the rest.
Lady Ashwood's expression has changed little, although you think that there might be some sort of a frown on her face as she looks slowly from each of you to the others. Says, "It is not Piley's touch, and whatever it is, it defied me. It fought. I saw the images you mentioned. I know that you're speaking the truth, but what these images mean I do not understand. These orbs you speak of, I believe I heard of them a long, long time ago, but I do not think they are as important as you think.
But, Lady Ashwood, if this Empress Junta is in possession of one of the orbs, the legends sort of seems to sort of doesn't really know what to say in the face of this ancient dragon who seems to dismiss his worry.
It is unfortunate.
Nods slightly.
What? I didn't get the. This is unfortunate. What is that? We had the dream, or?
I think the red orb situation she thinks is unfortunate.
Oh. Okay.
In the interaction we had with Piley, he mentioned that some great calamity is approaching and that his work is to prevent it. But also he has clearly conversed with this Empress Junta, who is maybe in possession of the orb. It is difficult to understand the relationship between them. First, I would have guessed that Junta was the calamity coming, the misuse of the dragon orb, the catalyst for it. But if Piley is working together with her, and in his mind trying to stop a calamity by attacking the Ashwood, he shakes his head. I simply don't know what to think.
I cannot accept an attack on myself, and Piley will say many things to coerce you to come back to him for his purposes.
Not to meddle in anything, Lady Ashwood, but did Vincent talk to you about what has happened and what Piley knows now?
He has talked to me indeed, and he assures me that he has not shared any information that would be, well, problematic. He had to share the things he did share to stay alive. As long as he was useful for Piley, Piley agreed to keep him. It would have been more than unfortunate if something had happened to Vincent.
Einamok's not, it was not that I do not care for Vincent's life. I just wanted to make sure that the message he gave us has been given to you.
What does your presence here mean then? If you seek help, then there will be a price, as there is a price to anything.
I think it was more concern.
Advice, perhaps.
Well, that.
If you ask for my advice, then it does seem like Piley does seem the source of many of these problems. You may say that he is working for the greater good and similar things. But who really admits that he would not? He has captured you and kept you imprisoned, used you. For what purpose? Why does it matter? He attacked you. He should be destroyed.
Draxus nods.
He is resourceful and patient, but little else. He is a small fish with big ambitions, and he has incurred my wrath. If I was not as angry with him as I would simply endure. But I am doing what I can to hinder him and eventually destroy him.
And
I cannot do it myself, but you could.
And you is as in and us.
I would assume that you do not like him either, after what he has done to you.
Of course not.
Not particularly, no.
Vincent had thought that you would be particularly intent on Piley's demise. I simply wanted you gone.